Hello, fellow board gamers. This is Marcel from your Lord of the Games, your Lords of the Games, and today I am pleased to welcome a special guest here on our channel. His name is Ren, and he is from Dragon Dawn Productions. Hello, Ren. Nice to have you here. How are you doing?
Hello. It is really nice to be here. You have been doing excellent videos of our games in the past, and it's such an honor to be in your channel. So let's see what you have come up with.
Yeah, you see what I have here for you, for us, for our audience. This is, let's say, my collection of Dragon Dawn Productions games. The 5 games you see are all Dragon Dawn published games. Some of them are designed by you in person. Um, what's your favorite game of these 5 games?
Well, that's a hard question. It depends on with whom you are playing, I guess. Um, we have to keep in mind that some of those games require certain amount of people, whereas, say, Perdition's Mouth works with any amount of players from 1 to 6 equally well. But recently, I have played mostly Factory 42 for the obvious reason that I have been doing some further development. But I guess out of those games, I have played most the White Hat, or the previous version, the Black Hat.
Oh, really?
When I was designing that, I think we played at least 100 games.
Wow.
So, yeah, so quite a lot.
Okay, so let's take a few minutes and cycle through the games because I think we have to tell the audience. Not everybody knows every game, so let's see. Perdition's Mouth. Perdition's Mouth, Abyssal Rift. This is the game because of which I came in touch with Dragon Dawn Productions. I supported that game, Perdition's Mouth, on Kickstarter first, and additionally, I acquired a German version on Spieleschmiede then. And I don't know if you want to talk about it. To me, it is one of my most favorite dungeon crawlers. It's a cooperative dungeon crawler. And what really makes it special is I think it's an unmatched mechanism. The roundel mechanism, you definitely know what I mean. The roundel mechanism with those spokes, where we players do have to take our action, we have to plan our action, and there I think it connects very well with this grimdark fantasy theme, because if you enter a dungeon, not everybody can rest. Not everybody can charge all the time or perform a special action. And this, I think, is done very, very well. And therefore, I love the game. And this is my most played game of your Dragon Dawn Productions. And I think you designed it yourself. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is quite correct. It was a long project. I think it took something like 6 years to make it from an early idea to make it actually functional. But in the end, I'm quite proud that it works well, and it offers challenge. And it's not a game of luck. It really makes your brain hurt to kind of contemplate all the possibilities that you really need to do in order to play well. I guess you have noticed that further you go in the campaign, the harder the scenarios are, coming. At least that was the main point. And then there has been some expansions for this Perdition's Mouth, which bring more heroes and so on. So I think it's an interesting concept, and I really like it. However, I'm not really keen any longer to play the introduction scenario after I have been showing that with I think in more than 20 different fairs, I guess like 100 times or so. So I think I would be able to play that blindfolded and still quite okay. But yeah, that's a game where things went well in the end. I'm so happy that you didn't see the very early versions, because otherwise you would have a very different opinion of the game.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I played the first scenario most too, but because there are many game groups who always said, "Oh, Perdition's Mouth has to be a cool dungeon crawler. Can we test it at your house?" And I always started with new groups, and I always experienced that it's some kind of hard cooperative or heavy cooperative, because you need so much table talk to solve a single scenario. And if you make it to the next scenario, everything you gain is survival. And so this makes it unique in a company with the roundel mechanics, with the card solution, which makes it very possible to anticipate what happens next. And you talked about the expansions. Meanwhile, I do own them all because they add additional characters, they add additional scenarios, and a little bit rules. To me, it's truly one of my most played and one of my favorite cooperative dungeon crawlers. Definitely.
Nice to hear that. Yeah, well, I think that in Perdition's Mouth, the part that I personally believe that worked the best is the wound mechanic.
Definitely.
The whole concept is it's like the Die Hard of dungeon crawlers.
Yeah.
That you really want to succeed well, and if you succeed well, it means that you will not get any wounds, and if you are really lucky, you might actually get some extra treasures, and that's your kind of survival. That's the optimal state that you can do.
And yourself, do you play with the permadeath like it's in the rule book, or do you reset a scenario?
Well, when we played that as a family game some years back, when we played the whole campaign, we had to play some of the scenarios more than once, but not all of them. So we didn't play exactly on the permadeath system.
Yeah.
However, we did kill a couple of heroes in the end before we managed to go all the way through. But then we kind of compared the results and considered that, okay, losing Tura is an acceptable loss or something like that. But if you would, for instance, lose Simma on the second level, then you better play that again. There are some heroes that are more valuable in a long run than some
Yeah.
others.
My favorite character is Bastian. Every time it's Bastian. I don't know why, but I like playing the tank. Okay, so let's switch to another project. It's Grey Eminence. That's a game about intrigue, about politics, bluffing, and morality. It's a game with mainly the mechanics are hand management. It's auction bidding, and I played it 3 times up to now, and this is far too less to be ready to make a review about it. And I'm a bit sad of it because I do want to play it more, but it's time and you need the right group for it. Can you tell the audience a bit about Grey Eminence?
Well, it's my attempt to kind of like bring the events of 2020 and 2021 into a format that can be digested easily, and it's not too heavy, but it's not also humor related. It's actually bringing the real things into your game table, and it's trying to do that with, well, feasible Euro mechanics in the sense that it's not just luck. It's actually a game where there can be a winner, and I tried to incorporate well, quite a lot of politics into it.
Definitely.
It took awful amount of background digging to kind of incorporate all of that, but it was something that I kind of thought that it should be possible, but I had never seen anyone doing anything like that. So this was my attempt that is this possible? And
Yeah.
obviously it seemed to be possible, and it would have been very nice if it would have actually been like a game that would have received a wider audience. but you are quite correct that it really needs a very specific group of people. It needs players who are capable of talking. It really doesn't work with people who are not interested of discussion.
And you need
But then
people who are
again,
yeah. And you need people that are interested in politics. Yeah.
yes,
If you
yes,
don't read the newspaper, I think that's not the game for you. And I do have a lot of players. This is where I come from. Is dungeon crawlers, area control games, and yeah, most of them don't like to talk, to bluff, and yeah, it's sad because I love to play it, and I definitely want to table this game more this year.
yeah.
I need players for it.
I think that I'm most proud of it in the sense that it has been actually used by several universities as a way of teaching people about the modern world, and that's how I kind of envisioned that if it's well done, then you could use that for children of say 12 and up would be capable of learning something about the world we live in by playing it. And I think in
Yeah,
that sense, I feel that I succeeded in something.
definitely. As soon as I definitely want to play it more, and if I'm capable of it, one day I will definitely do a review because I do own a copy myself. So let's go on to the next. I think I would call it a big one because again, it's a Perdition mouth game, and now it's Beyond the Rift. We were talking about the Abyssal Rift with your board game, but this is not a board game, it's a card game. And it's
Yes.
a hand management game, it's a deck construction, deck building game, but the wound system. I had the chance, you sent me the prototype, I had the chance to play it 9 times. This time, I think you worked together with a German designer. His name is Nicolas.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's Nicolas's design.
yeah,
I have been only helping Nicolas.
yeah. So it's his game, but you do publish it. And
Yes.
I think it perfectly connects. You do play the same characters. You do recognize the wound system you were talking about because it's again the great problem. If you acquire many wounds, you will not succeed. Not in the scenario, and definitely not in the campaign because there are many campaigns that start after you leave the rift, and you are advancing through the lands and exploring it. And personally, I always compare it to Marvel Champions because I feel it's similar from the amount of table talk you need and the difficulty and the way you have to collaborate, to cooperate with your fellow players. I think this is a great addition to the series and an ingenious card game.
Yeah, I like it as well. It was very positive happenstance that on one gaming convention that I attended with Nicolas, we had an evening off, and then we were discussing about that game, and he said that he has these sort of ideas. We tried and very early prototype and had a very interesting discussion over a wine, and then in the end we kind of agreed that it's a good game, and it fits very well with the Perdition Mouth theme. And we had most of the graphics and things like that were already existing, so there were assets that were able to kind of make it easier and quicker to produce. So I think it's in all ways it was a meaningful addition to the gaming family of DDP games.
Yeah, and a few weeks ago we had a crowdfunding campaign on Spieleschmiede for the German version. So Beyond the Rift will be available in German language, which is great for the German-speaking community, I think. And yeah, the unique selling point to me is the way you do prepare actions that help your mates. That means to me it's a game where the sweet spot is definitely at 3 to 4 players. I played it with 3 to 4 players. I also played it solo. It works solo very well on your own, but I love the 3 to 4 player mode. Yeah, it's an enrichment. You said it, of the Perdition's Mouth, of the Zanzia universe. Zanzia is the universe where Perdition's Mouth plays. Yeah.
Indeed. And now that we are potentially reaching quite many German listeners, it's good to mention that this game, like you mentioned, is coming to be also in German. And we would be very happy to have some people proofreading the German rulebook in about 2 weeks.
Cool. Okay. So, no problem. I can do that in the description of the video. Probably there are interested people.
Yeah, very good.
Okay. So now switch to a smaller project. Now you have to help me with the pronunciation. I think it's Maeshowe.
Maeshowe.
Maeshowe. And
Yeah.
and as far as I read it, it's there are two kings. They broke into an ancient tomb and they fought there, and then they recognized they are impossible to leave it. They can't escape, and it's designed as a solo game, but you can play it with a friend, and you are
Yeah.
trying to escape from the grave, from the tomb.
Yeah, and it's actually based on a true story. This is one of those weird stories that turned out to be true. So these Vikings actually fell into this very old tomb, and then they had to dig their way out, and obviously they did manage to do that. And this is game by Lee Broderick, and he made an excellent job in incorporating this this sort of solo and two-player co-op mode of this survival and horror and the feeling of desperation. It's a much different game than any of the others that you covered so far, because it's kind of like a light filler with very dark thematics.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely much different from all the others. I had the chance to test it and play it several times too. Now, I have to say, I am not the solo player. Um, I think definitely the mechanics work very well, and the artwork is great. I appreciate the artwork very much. But I am the guy who likes to play with 3 to 4 from time to time, always 5 players, and so it's a cool game. Yeah, but I think I will not table it very often because yeah, I don't play alone all the time.
Well,
And and talking about different games, you talked about a game you played over 100 times, and it's
indeed.
Whitehead. Whitehead is your last project, as far as I remember. It was on Gamefound a few weeks ago, and it's a game I never played before. It's a trick-taking game. In German, we say Bluffspiel, but it's not only a card game, but it's a board game as well,
Mhm.
where when you succeed, you may move your meeple to the right, or you can reset meeples from your opponents. And also the mechanics are switched. They are turned around. It's hard to say it in English because this is really the first game that I played, but I really had fun with it, and the people I played it with, two of them were really backing the game because they were so fascinated of it. I invited the right people to my play session, I think, and even I was very surprised, positively surprised, because this is not the game I ever play. Yeah, I always play dungeon crawlers or worker placement games or area control strategy games, but this was a great experience for me.
Thank you. We in our family play quite a lot of different trick-taking games, and this Black Hat and White Hat game, both of those. Well, Black Hat is the older version, and now the new version is White Hat.
Mhm.
It's an well, I believe that trick-taking games should be more than just card games. It can be engaging in a similar way than the other kinds of board games, and I thought that I should try to do that. And originally, the Black Hat was designed for my son when he turned, let me think, 7, I think.
Oh,
I
okay.
think, yeah, something like that. and that was his birthday present, that he got a printed copy of a game, and there is his picture is one of the
It's cool.
white hat cards. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think the game works very well, and if people and players are interested in these trick-taking games, this is a great addition to their collection. Personally, it's not the game that I play that much, but I told you I had fun with it. It's not the game I will table a lot. But the next game we are talking about is one of my favorite games, and it's important that we talk about it now because there will be a crowdfunding campaign for it next week, I think. So when we upload the video, it is about to start, and the game I'm talking about is Factory 42. And
Yeah.
Factory 42 is one of my I did not believe it when I saw it first. It's one of my most played worker placement games of 2021. It's a semi-cooperative worker placement game, and I think there are not many games of these. I saw the picture of it, and I said, "Oh, it's a dwarf." Uh, Dwarfs are not mine. I like elves, I like humans, orcs, but dwarfs. Then I saw, oh, it's Sansia. It's the Perdition's Mouth universe. Oh, let's give it a closer look. And then I saw that the mechanics from the requisition over loading, over spiking, over shipping, you know all of it, steam generation, manufacturing, it works so well compared to the theme, connected to the theme, and you do know that, and I think the audience knows it as well. I will link the video, the review. We do have 2 videos on our channel. I think the mechanics I spoke about, they work so well with the theme, and even you have to cooperate with your mates on the table, but once they see an advantage, they will stab you. They will stab you in your back, and they will take advantage. They will steal your card. They will go to the accountants. This game is so intelligent. This is really, if there wouldn't be Perdition's Mouth, that would be my favorite game. But it's an awesome game. Also, congratulations to this game. I love this game.
Thank you. It's something that when the COVID kind of closed all the doors and meant that we were essentially out of business, I had to do something, and this is what I came up. And now it's very nice to see that people are actually appreciating that, because when it came out, it was on the year when there was no Essen Spiel. It was a year when everything else was really very difficult, and well, now that it's available and well, sold out, essentially, it's very motivating to hear that people are actually liking it. I thought that it actually incorporates quite nicely the thematics. That's very important for me, that the game mechanics and thematics are going like hand in hand. And in this game, I think we succeeded. Well, I succeeded fairly well with this, because unlike many of the other games, Factory 42 is essentially the design work is all mine, and then most of the game testing is done here at our house with our family, because you couldn't go anywhere for the COVID.
Definitely, I watched, even if I played it I played it very, very early. I had that prototype, you remember, but I watched a lot of German reviews because I just wanted to see how the others speak about the game. And I did not see a single reviewer that said the game doesn't work. There are people that say, like me, it's not exactly my game, but it works so good. The dwarves, I told you, I'm not the biggest dwarf fan, but as you are playing this small team of dwarves going from requisition till the very end, and you have to solve these projects, these tasks for the government, and in addition with the Elven Embassy and the Inventors Guild, it's such a great game. It's really no game is like the other game. And if you compare it to other worker placement games, the Euro games, that's the great problem with a lot of Euro games. They are not thematic. You could exchange the theme simply. In this case, you cannot exchange the theme because you cannot use Vikings, or you cannot use Native Americans, or even you cannot use a space theme and then work with that. The dwarven bureaucracy, the tower of bureaucracy, that just works here, and it's a cool game. It's definitely a cool game, and I'm very happy that it comes back this time to Gamefound. And I tell you what, I found something. I found something in the internet. You definitely know about it because this is your YouTube channel. You see here it's Dragon Dawn Productions. I do have a question. I don't know, but it's here. It reads "Pimp My Right Set," and what I said and what Alex said and a few other YouTubers, and we were not that happy with the mine cards. They were paper mine cards, and from time to time they slip open, and some people printed out mine cards. And now I find that video. It's a new video. It's from today, I think. Does that mean that you will offer mine cards for the upcoming crowdfunding?
Yes, that is exactly true.
Oh,
There is a possibility of having composite resin-made mine cards that are made specifically for those measurements, that you can put the same amount of cubes in there. And set of 6 of mine cards is 12 euros.
wow. Okay, this is so great. This is exactly what I was wishing. And people who there are always people who sell your game on secondhand market. And I talked to a woman here living next to me. She sold her game and she said, it's the material. The game is cool, but the material is not that nice. It's not up to date. It's not 2021, she said to me. And I said, okay, but you can print something, or probably I will ask them one time, but now I have to tell her, I don't know if she sold her game, but I think she would be sad to hear it. This is an awesome addition to the game. And there is another thing I also found, and this is we wrote about. I wrote about it, and I said this is awesome because more than one reviewer, including myself, they said we have a problem with the symbols because symbols like steel and lithium, um, they look the same, or even copper and mushroom, they just look the same. And if the light is bad, then people mix it up and then they collect the wrong resources, and then they realize in the end, oh my god, I have the wrong resources. And this is really cool. I told you in advance we were writing about it. I really like that you took the criticism and that you are working on that with the evolution of the symbols. That is really cool, I think.
Yes. Well, we always listen what the fans are saying. We are not making these games just for ourselves. It wouldn't be meaningful. For us, the feedback is essential. And in this case, it's clear that we made a wrong choice with the symbols, and the only meaningful option was to make it better. And I think we succeeded relatively well. I think you should show the evolution of symbols to the viewers.
Yeah, of course, of course. So, and the crowdfunding campaign, it will start in a few days. I will definitely link I will give the audience the link. I saw that a lot of people here in Germany already know about it. They're talking about it because, as you said, it's sold out, and this is the chance to get the game here in Germany and all over the world. And
Yeah,
it will come in
very
German
much so.
language,
And
in German language too, I think.
in German language as well. So that's one of the main new things, is that it's going to be available also in German language.
Yeah, that's definitely great. This is one of my favorite worker placement games, and if any one of you likes worker placement games, please try out this. You can look at a variety of different reviews because a lot of reviewers got the game. You don't need to watch mine or ours. Watch any review you like. You will be fascinated because it works very well. And if you like dwarfs, everybody likes dwarfs except of me, you will adore the game. It's awesome. Okay, Ren, and then there is one special thing I wanted to talk about, one very big and great project, and everybody knows Perdition's Mouth and the universe around it, that's my thing. Beyond the Rift, Abyssal Rift. I spent hundreds of hours with Perdition's Mouth, Abyssal Rift, and now a few people already talk about this thing here, Soulspire. So I don't find a lot about Soulspire in the internet. I ask you something via email, and but everything I see, it's 1 to 6 player game. So I assume it's a cooperative game as well. 14 plus. That looks very good to me because I hope it's the grimdark fantasy realm of Sansia again. And yeah, what is it? Is it an add-on? Or is it a new game? Can you tell something about that
Well,
upcoming project?
it's not a new game. It's an evolution of Perdition's Mouth. I call it the advanced Perdition's Mouth for advanced players. So if you know already how to play the basic game, which is not super easy like you mentioned, now we are offering you a completely new challenge. Not only does it come with a few new characters and new heroes and so on, it also comes with completely different kind of concepts. So first of all, I think that the biggest change of the game is that it actually is very story based. So between all the scenarios there are story bits, and you can make selections on those story bits, and then it goes into a different path, and different things will happen. So it's kind of like a make your own adventure, but you have to play that through. And there are 3 different completely separate factions, and you can play with all of those. So this time you can actually be on the side of the cultist. So a summoner can be your friend.
Oh, that means if I can choose as a character, I'm choosing Bastian or Simma, but I can choose a cultist now, and it's a
Yeah,
complete different story. I'm the bad guy then?
yeah. Well, none
Wow.
of them are bad guys. They all think that they are good guys. So it's 3 different factions who all have a different kind of story. Like you have probably noticed that in my games, I don't want to do things too black and white. I think every one of those is kind of like 3 different shades of gray.
Yeah.
They all have some positive sides and some not so positive sides. But every single one of those factions bring 2 heroes, and if you are on that side, then the heroes are on your side, but then the other 4 heroes are on the opposite side, and of course all of the other are also then opposing you. That's one of the big things. The other thing is that we have made a completely new system. So there is now a thing called initiative track. There is no longer such thing as hero's turn and enemy turn, but it's a flow. So instead of having all heroes working at once and then all enemies working at once, we have a track where you randomly shuffle the participants of that scenario and place them on the track, and that's your order.
Okay.
So that allows a very widely different experience in considering that what is an optimal way to work, because heroes are not named. The cards that are saying that there is a hero now working, you can choose which hero.
Uh-huh.
Just
But I shuffle my hero cards with the enemy cards.
yeah, well, a hero marker card that says that, yeah, well, this is the case. But yeah, obviously that's going to change quite a lot how the game works, and it also means that it offers some new challenges for everyone. And all the test players have said that it actually makes it a very uniquely different experience, because there is no such thing as one round any longer. It's kind of like a linear progression where everything is going further on like this, and that
And if
makes
it's my turn, or if it's the hero's card, the token that is drawn, then how can I take my actions? Is it like in Perdition's Mouth where you have that? Yeah,
yes,
you can take every
same
action.
rondel,
Yeah.
same rondel. That hasn't changed in any way.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
so the rondel mechanic is exactly the same.
Hmm.
And actually, what we are offering for existing Perdition Mount owners is Soulspire upgrade kit, which is the same size of a box than the original game.
Okay.
And then if you don't have the base game, then it's a little bit bigger box, because then we need to put some of the basic components. It uses some of the components from the basic games, like all the minis, all the hero cards, all the rondels, all the shields. The response deck is the same.
Oh yeah,
So
okay. The response deck is the same like in Beyond the Rift, Abyssal Rift, and as far as I understand, I can transport all my characters from Abyssal Rift and all the add-ons like Cannibal's Hall, Witch Grotto to Soulspire.
yes, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then on top of that, there will be 7 new heroes in the game. 1 which is not tied into any faction, and 2 per each of the 3 factions.
Okay.
And then, according to the story, we have written now something like 1/3 of the entire story, and it's something like 50 pages, A4 sized pages. So it's quite a lot of story. That's why it has taken awfully lot of time. But I think it's creating now quite nice flow, and it's offering you a very unique experience in a sense that you have a possibility of connecting with the heroes better, because every bit of text is telling something about the heroes, what they did in the past, what kind of characters they are, like what the personalities are, and so on.
Yeah, I definitely like that narration aspect. There I found some pictures of it. Is the Dread Monk one of the new characters?
Yeah, well, that's also, there is one hero that is a Dread Monk, but there are also like non-hero Dread Monks.
Okay.
That's how would I put it? A very not nice cultist figure who can boost everyone who is cultist around them. So it's a very effective medium range figure with hefty set of skills.
And why do you say it's for advanced Perdition's Mouth players? Wouldn't you say you can just acquire buy a Soulspire and you don't need Perdition's Mouth? Or do you think you should have played Perdition's Mouth and Soulspire is too hard for beginners?
Soulspire is coming with the first scenario of the basic game anyhow.
Aha, okay.
Because that's the optimal way of teaching how the rondel mechanic works. So it kind of assumes that you have successfully played the first and second scenario of the basic game before you are kind of advancing into Soulspire. The reason for that is that if we would start already directly from the Soulspire's first scenario, it would be too much to explain the rondel, which you mentioned is requiring some thinking. And it's not exactly something that we could assume that people have learned from some other game, because I don't know that there would be any other game with rondel mechanics that is a dungeon crawler. There are several other rondel-based games existing, but not dungeon crawlers as far as I know.
Definitely no, yeah. And the story, it's focusing on story. Will the story, where will it connect? Will it connect after Beyond the Rift, or will it talk a totally different story? Tell us a different story.
No, it's not totally different story. This is actually a continuum. So Abyssal Rift is kind of like the start of the story. Then we have the Beyond the Rift that takes place in the intervening time between Abyssal Rift and Soulspire. So it's the same people, same timeline, and actually even the production line is kind of the same as the timeline in the story.
Great.
So first your heroes are doing things in the Abyssal Rift, and then there is a few years time period in between when they are doing the Beyond the Rift things and solving kind of like mysteries that are related to each of those heroes. And then they will convene again and do the Soulspire, which is taking place a few years after the time of Abyssal Rift, and that means that there has been time to heal the wounds and maybe learn some new skills.
Oh, cool.
And what we are also bringing that might actually interest you, Marcel, is that there is finally there is a possibility for you to upgrade your heroes. You were saying that in the original game there is no level up. Well, now there is. There is one time level up for all the existing heroes.
Okay, how will that work? That's great. That's cool. Definitely.
There are 3 new cards for every hero.
Oh,
And every hero needs to still have only 13 cards. So then you need to consider that, okay, I have these 3 new cards, but I need to also take 3 cards away from every deck.
so I have the chance to individualize my character.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's definitely a cool idea. Because if you play the game often, like I do play with Bastian, I don't know why I always come back to Bastian. I do know them with closed eyes, the cards. And if I do have new cards, that will make it interesting again. Talking about the characters, will it be possible to transport the new characters to Abyssal Rift?
That is not that easy.
They are too strong.
Theoretically, yes, but we have also upgraded. Every hero gets a very small upgrade to the hero sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So that will mean that there is actually a new hero sheet for every single hero coming. And what is changing is typically one number is one higher for
Okay.
every hero. So say Elisa has been doing some bodybuilding and her attack skill is, instead of 0, it's 1 at the lowest level or something like that. It's a very small balancing issues, but I think that you will see why it's not that easy. There are some of those new heroes that would work nicely with the original content, but several of the heroes are large sized. So it means that they are taking more than 1 square. And you know that the original dungeons were designed with heroes of 1 square in size. So there would be some real complications if you are going there with, say, Turm, which is a golem about this high.
Okay.
And then he takes 4 squares of space.
Yeah. And this one is it a hero too? Or is it a dwarven card?
It's one of the dwarven heroes. So when you are going on the dwarven side, you will get 2 dwarven heroes, and then one of them is like a steam-powered golem.
Oh wow!
And
what are the 3 factions? It's the dwarves, it's the cultists, and the 3rd faction is
the dark fairies.
the dark fairies.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know anything about them. They did not appear up to now in the universe.
No. It's a new thing completely. And this is like those people who don't want anything to change. It's like if you have ever been watching reading Dresden stories by, what was the name of the author? Butcher, who makes stories about Harry Dresden.
Okay.
In that there is the winter court of the fairies, which is kind of like the dark fairies that are not exactly nice people and they don't want anything to change.
Okay.
That's the exact opposite of the cultists who want constant change of any kind. And these fairies are essentially wanting to freeze everything as it was and never change anything. And yeah.
So I do have to play the game at least 3 times, and everybody who knows Abyssal Rift knows it's a hard task to complete Abyssal Rift 1 time, because all your heroes are dead mostly after scenario 10.
Yeah. Well, if you want to like read all the stories and experience all the things, then you will need to play it 3 times to go through every faction. but even then, it's quite likely that you will miss some parts and miss even complete scenarios, because you will go into a different path if you fail into some scenario. Every scenario has different winning conditions in Soulspire, so it's not only one win or lose, but you could be playing on the dwarven side, and then say the cultists are winning, and it's a completely different story than if the dwarves would have won.
And can you already tell something about the enemy mechanics? You already told that the response deck is again there. Do the enemies work similar to the ones we already know?
Well, the enemy functionality is pretty much the same. However, we have now made with the initiative track, it's possible to add more enemies in a more dynamic way. And it also means that we can have enemies that are changing with the stats. So there is no enemy sheet any longer. Every enemy type has a card of the same size as hero card that has all the stats. And then we can make different kind of variations of the enemy. And then you can have, say, an easy version of an acolyte while still having the hard version of the summoner at the same time on the same scenario, which was not that easy with the previous setup with the different sides of the sheet.
Okay, so I begin to understand. Normally in Abyssal Rift, when I say the cultists or the guards were activated, then everyone is activated and he does exactly the same. It just draws the additional card. But now it's every card I draw activates one enemy and it has individual stats then. Is that correct?
Very close. There are, like, if we are talking about enemy groups, say acolytes, when it's the time of the acolyte card, then all the acolytes will be activated, but not, for instance, guards, which are different kind of enemy. So the acolytes could be the card number 1, and then we have card number 16, which is the guards. So it's a very different way of considering that what is the action flow, because then you need to consider also that if your heroes are, say, on slots 2, 9, and 10, and 11, then who would be the one who is very early, and then there are 3 who are together, but there is a lot of enemies in between. So then you need to consider that, okay, what is an optimal way of solving this dilemma?
Okay, so now here we see a different dwarf. It's another hero again.
I can't see that. I don't know why, but let me see. Oh, now it's updated that. So these ones, the ones with spades and nice yellow pants.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, that is actually our worker dwarf. And this is just kind of like giving you an indication that not everyone in the new Soulspire are actually combatants. There are also some non-combatant characters in play, especially for the dwarves, who are essentially living there and who would like to make it an industrial base.
Okay.
So there are also some dwarves who could fight, yes, who could be also fought against, but who are not, strictly speaking, just there to fight.
So it's a non-playable character?
Yes, this is
Like this one.
non-playable character. This is a minor dwarf with a card, and as you can see, this one is having 2 square base.
Yeah.
So this figure takes 2 squares of space at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, cool. That sounds really cool. I do have some other pictures here. This is an enemy, I think. It's looking similar like the spawn pits in Perdition's Mouth
Yeah.
Abyssal Rift.
This is called slithering nest. So instead of having just the stationary nests, now the insectoids, which are still there, insectoids are enemies of everyone. Now
Yeah.
they are not helping the cultists, but they are there to eat everyone.
Hmm.
And this is their mobile nest, so their spawning point can actually move.
Okay, okay, this sounds cool. Can you tell anything about the global story, how it proceeds after the story we already know?
Well, I think it's better if we keep some parts still under the wraps. But
Mm.
let's put it this way: that this Soulspire scenario or campaign, not scenario, campaign is intending to kind of put a closure in a very important decision in the world of Zanzibar, and the actions of the players will kind of define what kind of direction what is the fate of the world, essentially, like what is happening in there. And that is something where we have been spending quite a lot of time to write different kind of end games, end stories, that what happens. And those will be hopefully in separate envelopes, and you should only open one at a time when you actually complete the story, the one that what happens because of your actions. And then you don't even know what the other alternatives are.
Okay. Um, and as you said, yeah, I can transport all the old characters. This is one thing I sometimes read, probably some kind of criticism. As the characters, the heroes, are dying during the campaign, that's normal with the permadeath death system. Um, you do have some kind of advantage if you do own Perdition's Mouth, Abyssal Rift, Cannibal's Hall, Witch's Grotto, the Traitor expansion, or the Hideout expansion. Do you think it's easier if you do own all these characters, or doesn't it matter? Is there something
Well,
that solves the problem?
if you know all the characters well, then it's obviously an advantage. But then it would mean that you would need to know them fairly well and be able to play all of them. Like you said, every hero is very different, and if you have those only as a cannon fodder, then it's not really useful.
Mm.
But if you have the heroes there, and you know what are the weak points and strong points of every hero, then it really makes a big difference that you can quite easily choose that, okay, on this scenario, having Bastian and Elisa and Mogba is probably better than anyone else. And on the next scenario, you will take then, say, Neshilim and Nifil and
Führer, for example.
Tyra, yeah, if you want heavy hitting and fast running team.
Yeah. Talking about characters, I think this is a character as well, is it?
Let me take a look. Yes, this is the guide. This is the hero who is essentially a ghost, who is, and that's why it's blue.
Yeah.
And the concept is that this guy is like guiding you in the Soulspire, and he is not part of any of the factions. So he
Oh,
is your only new hero that you will automatically get for any faction. And then that could be it could be an interesting addition. Let's put it this way: we don't have any immaterial heroes so far. This is the first one.
so we
So
can play him personally? We can
yes,
play him?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
you can
cool.
play him, and
Okay.
you actually have to. In the very first scenario, it's mandatory to have him because the story kind of demands that he is present in some sense. And I think he will offer you completely different set of skills. He
Yeah.
has, and he is what I would call an auxiliary hero with a wide variety of things that he can do. He's not really good at fighting
Yeah.
or defending.
So
He
he's
has
a
two hit points.
supporter. He's a support class.
Yeah, he has 2 hit points like Simma.
Oh yeah. I don't like that weak characters. But do you think it would be possible, or are you thinking about some kind of how shall I say it? Most of the cards the characters have can be played on their own, or they can
Yeah.
be played to, let's say, do anything that is preparing something of the teammates. Will there be abilities or skills that directly are designed to promote actions of other characters. So, like they are designed as to play it in a team or something like that. Or will that not be the case?
There are some. You will see that there are some that are exactly that, and I think this is something that if you allow me, I will send you one screen in there. This
Yeah.
could be interesting. We were talking about Turm, and you said that you like tanks. I think this
Here
is
is it.
something that
Is it the tower?
yeah,
Is it that?
yeah, that's the same guy.
Yeah.
And you can see the sheet in here, the hero sheet. So Turm has 7 hit points, no, 8 hit points,
The more the better.
and quite interesting other things. And he is really big. His deck is also like a combination of heavy hits and things that he can do to protect the people who are around him.
Yeah. So I think I found my char already. Yeah, he looks gorgeous, and I like these heavy hitters, tank-like classes. Okay, that looks very great. Okay, so that means what we can expect is a game which focuses very much about a narrative aspect, 3 stories, three
Yeah.
different stories with a kind of choose your own adventure style. And
Yes.
and what I am really interested in and what I'm looking forward is this activation system, which seems to be very new and seems to be an addition to the roundel mechanism.
Yeah.
I'm very interested, definitely. As you can be sure that I want to play this game as I played over 100 hours in Perdition's Mouth Abyssal Rips. Definitely.
Yeah. Have you ever seen something like this?
Now I cannot see this. Just did you send me a picture?
No. It's showing you a new screen. There is a Bastian's character sheet now.
Yeah.
So
Give me a
this is the new
second.
Bastian.
This is the new Bastian. Did you send it? Ah, the stream here. Okay, let me click on
Yeah.
it. Okay. So just a hint.
Now the yellow numbers with the small yellow smudge on the left side, that indicates the numbers that have been increased. So
Uh,
all of those numbers have been increased by 1. So what Bastian gets from his level up is that he will actually get 1 extra action point if he has 5, 4, or 3 hit points, but that's it. And then, of course, the 3 new cards. But this is kind of like giving you an indication that what kind of things are you expecting to see. Obviously, then you can see also that some of the colors have been slightly changed. So Bastian's new background artwork is more vivid, but it's still the same Bastian.
okay, Ren, just because I switched my monitor, my screen, and Alex will have to need a cut. Can you please repeat that? So yeah, can we just repeat that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
about Bastian, you mean?
Yeah, Ren. Now it's your screen. Send me a screen. What do we see here? It's the character I played most. It's Bastian, but it doesn't look like the Bastian I know. What is it?
Yeah.
What changed?
This is Soulspire version of Bastian. So in Soulspire, every new hero will, every old hero will get a new hero sheet, and this one shows the difference. The differences are marked with this yellowish smudge. So you can see here in the action point scale, if you would have a 5, 4, or 3 hit points, you will have 1 extra action point compared to the old Bastian. And the other thing is that we have a few new kind of stats that every hero has. Like there is the jump ability at the top, which is important because there are areas in the map that requires that, well, not it doesn't require, but it makes it easier to move when you can jump over things.
Okay.
And other than that, it's the same Bastian with more color, and then with 3 new cards that allow you to kind of customize your Bastian for your own liking.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so we do have a lot of more replayability value, and I think it's very cool for us veteran players that we can. Now your stream is finished, so I move back to my. So this is the first impression about Soulspire. Soulspire will be a standalone expansion, but Ren, you told us that we will profit from owning Abyssal Rift and all the characters because we can use them as we saw with Bastian. And we do have 3 factions and a whole different storyline 3 times. And yeah, Ren, can you already tell us when we can expect Soulspire to be on a crowdfunding platform?
Well, our current hope is that it would be this summer, late in this summer, probably something like early August.
Cool.
Essentially, our US colleagues are suggesting that it should coincide with the Gen Con.
Mm-hmm.
So we are hoping that in Berlin Brettspiele this July we would be able to show you that this is the Soulspire just before the campaign is launched. So if you are going to be in Berlin Brettspiele, find us from a booth and I'll show you what we will have.
Okay, yeah, that will be great, of course. I don't know if I will attend Berlin. I tried to attend Essen Fair this year. Last year, I did not have the time to do that. But I will definitely keep the audience updated on that booth you present there and Berlin Brettspiele. Die Spiel Berlin. Berlin. I do know 2 people out of my group who want to go there. For me, it's a bit different because yeah, with my job, I can't go there every time. I do need holidays to go there. Okay, but it was really great. And the next thing is that I definitely keep my fingers crossed that the Factory 42 campaign will be a huge success, which I am sure because it's a great game and the audience already knows it.
Well, it does help that it's now that the first edition is sold out. It kind of tells that there has to be something correct, otherwise it wouldn't have sold out.
Yeah, definitely. So I wish you all the best for Factory 42. I can't wait for Soulspire. It was a pleasure to have you here, Ren. So
Yeah, thank you. Really great, and we'll meet latest in Essen.
definitely. Okay, so over and out from us, from Herren der Spiele and Ren from Dragon Dawn Productions. If you do have any questions, you, the audience, then write it in the comments. We will answer every single comment. If we don't know, we will ask Ren, who will comment himself. If you liked it, leave us a subscription. If you ring the bell, you will not miss a single video. Okay, so I'm out and see you next time.